It fits well with the space theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traveling late all the way through the night. Nothing but darkness on your left and right. But far ahead and high above there is a light. Tell me, what do you see? What do you feel? It makes no sound and you think this can't be real. But through the static the radio plays, two voices speak upon the airwaves. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast playing in your head. It's a brand new episode every week, that's what they say. Not sure now where you're going to, but no Adam and Topher will guide you. Tune in every week for a new sneak peek into conspiracies, aliens, and government leaks. UAP, the podcast, where the truth is told and secrets never last.
Unga bunga.
Unga bunga.
UFO.
Ooga booga.
UFO alien podcast. Unga bunga. No girl talk here. Just unga bunga UFO.
Great alien.
Where the truth is told and secrets
Ooga booga. Look.
Unga bunga.
UAP, the podcast, where the truth is told and secrets never lie.
Yeah.
Unga bunga. UFO
Unga bunga.
podcast.
Grunt, grunt.
All right.
UAP, the podcast.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Truth is told and secrets never last.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this episode 100?
No, this is 99.
It's 99. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Not 100 yet. And I
Oh,
guess,
sorry.
I mean, should
Unga bunga. I
Unga
got
bunga.
UFO podcast. Unga bunga.
I don't know if cavemen can live stream a show.
I
but we
would
will attempt to
love.
do it.
I would absolutely love to see a caveman podcast. How great would that be? We discovered fire. Hit with stick.
It was stick, yeah, rub stick together.
Rub stick together. Make.
Smash
hot.
rock. Yeah.
So the reason we're talking like this is because we got a comment that the first 15 minutes were girl talk, and well, I regret. Now it's just unga bunga UFOs.
Ooga booga, yeah, exactly. Don't have any conversations or anything,
No, and I can't dare tell you that at work. So that song you just heard, listeners, I wrote that, and I'm actually really proud of how it turned out.
Beautiful.
The reason I actually had time this week to write that song is because we're filming a commercial at my place of business, and I had to sit there quietly for hours and hours and hours on end for 2 days. For 2 days,
That's crazy.
I was paid to sit at my desk and be quiet. So I brought a book, and I read that, but I also wrote this song, and I'm really happy about that.
That's a great song. Good job. Seriously. And the lyrics are awesome. The theme just fits perfectly. And
Yeah.
it promotes the show, and it's catchy.
And I'm not promoting it, but Suno, the app makes it so easy. So easy.
That's really cool.
And all I did was write lyrics and give it a genre. That's it.
We should actually put that music to, what is it called? I forget what it's called now. Is it called lyric videos?
Oh,
What I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, where you can have stuff or just the words that come up in like random stock videos in the background. But it's good because we can upload it to YouTube or wherever, and it'll be good for the show. We can get the links out there, and
Hell yeah, brother.
what I mean.
Sorry if I sound a little hoarse.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah, I don't actually know. I was sneezing all night last night, and I think that's what's going on.
It sounds like you've been smoking too much.
Yeah, I've been smoking cigars.
Smoking and joking.
Yeah, smoking. Yeah.
They used to say that in the military to us.
So as we discussed, this is episode 99 of the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast.
That's right.
And that is I Demand to Know, Adam.
What's up, everyone?
And I am Chef Topher. We are more stories about work. We're doing a Worksgiving. That's Thanksgiving for your work colleagues. And I was cooking up a storm in the kitchen today.
Very cool. It's always nice. I love cooking. Here's some more girl talk for you. But but I think it's creating something, from scratch, and then it's if it comes out great, that's even better. But
like, oh my god,
creative.
like I love being in the kitchen where you can like cook stuff.
I can't believe a troll has this effect on us, but that's what happens. Unfortunately, we're human.
Yeah, I shouldn't let it get to me like this.
No, I know. Yeah, we're joking. We're joking.
We are joking.
It's just funny. It's called we're engaging our audience.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But so today, whoever left that comment, this is for you. Unga bunga UFO.
Bunga. Yeah.
What are we talking about today, Adam?
We are talking about the Kecksburg UFO in 1965 incident.
Kecksburg, more like Hexburg. Oh heck.
Yes. Which is in Pennsylvania, by the way.
It is.
I was gonna have a joke about hecklefish, but it didn't come out right, so it just.
You know what? No, take it again. Go on.
No, it sounded good in my brain when I tried to say it. I was like, okay, that's not funny. So.
Beware the crab cat.
I can't do it.
AJ's looking tired these days, huh? Or his voice sounded tired, or something.
I think he pushed himself too hard for the past year or so, and I hope, because it seems like now they're not so rigorous about once a week releasing videos. But AJ over the Y Files, we appreciate you and love you a lot, man.
Yeah, dude. This last one they did for cryptids, and you told me that they covered the Flatwoods monster, which we covered last week. That's crazy.
Right after we did, it's so crazy.
I tried to our traffic got much better with that one. I did go into the comments of the show and tell them to check
I don't know. Can you hear that? Sorry, my roommate's dog is going nuts right now.
Oh no. Oh yeah, just a little bit. Maybe someone's at the door.
Oh, that's my delivery. Can we pause really quick?
I'll pause. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. The cooking's never done. That's why they call me Chef Topher.
It's fun being a chef.
Yeah, it really is. Lots of cleanup. That part's not fun.
No, it's not. But once you get in the routine, it becomes just part of it.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait a lot, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't have to what I'm cooking. There's nothing that has to be put in the oven or anything like that. So there's no waiting. But also, I'm learning on the fly.
Right.
So it's fun.
YouTube makes it easy, huh?
Well, I called my mom for the tabbouleh, and I called my brother for the shanglish.
Okay.
So I had a lot of help along the way.
Even better.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't wait for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I've got 3 in a row, so I'm gonna be dead this weekend.
Oh boy.
I know. So yes, we're talking about the Kecksburg UFO. We're doing UAP UFO news, some sightings that happened last week as well. So there's a lot to go through.
Nice. Yeah, you sent me a lot of stuff this week. I'm eager to get into it.
By the way, but a lot of the Reddit stuff you sent me is deleted.
It's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was that one I remember, something about the boys or the brothers or something. So that one was taken.
Yeah, I try to send you straight links rather than I find most of the stuff on Reddit, but I try and use the actual link rather than the Reddit link, unless it's
guys being dudes. That one was gone, and the ChatGPT one was gone.
Oh man, all right, it's too bad.
Yeah, bastards, huh? Why are they like that, man? They delete everything.
It's Reddit. I'm assuming an author said something transphobic 25 years ago, and so they had to delete the whole post.
So ridiculous. It really is. These moderators. Well, and it's moderators, so it's humans. It's not like it's Reddit doing it, right? It's people.
Yeah, it's people who for whatever reason they become an internet moderator and they think that's like the most important job in the world, and they have to take it super seriously for some reason.
Well, okay, so we can get started on Kecksburg.
Yeah, let's get into Kecksburg. Depending on who you are, it either looks like a giant bell or a really small condom.
A really small one.
So let's get into it. On December 9th, 1965, the small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, was shaken by an event that would go down in history as one of the most mysterious and debated UFO crashes of all time. The Kecksburg UFO crash, as it became to be known, has captivated the imagination of people for decades, with theories ranging from government cover-up to extraterrestrial encounters. Also, the Nazis fit in here somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot of people, because the bell shape was
right.
supposedly what the Nazis were trying to develop during World War
Exactly.
II.
Yeah. So it could have been something like that for sure.
Yeah. So this is the crash. According to witnesses, a large acorn-shaped object, not a condom, with strange markings on it, fell from the sky and crash landed in a wooded area near Kecksburg. The object was described as being about the size of a small car and made of a metallic material. It was also said to have a strange smell and emit a hissing sound. Strange smells often associated with UFOs and the Greys. A lot of people talk about a strong
sulfur.
Sulfur. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Smell.
So strange enough, the witnesses said the same thing about this. There was a sulfur smell and a hissing sound. Yeah.
Some people who saw the object described it as having a warm metallic smell, and others claimed it had a strange acrid odor.
Acrid, huh?
Uh-huh. The object was seen by multiple witnesses, including people from Ohio, Michigan, and Canada, our great friends up north. It was reported.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, okie dokie there, bud. It was reported that the object was seen by thousands of people and was also tracked on radar. This was not an isolated incident, as many people reported seeing a bright light in the sky that night, with some describing it as a fireball. Soon after the crash, the military and government officials arrived on the scene and cordoned off the area. They then proceeded to remove the object and transport it to an unknown location. The official explanation given by the government was that it was a meteorite.
Oh, okay.
It was the planet Saturn. It fell to the Earth. But many witnesses and UFO enthusiasts disagree with this explanation.
I mean, why is the army there if it was a meteorite?
Yeah, I mean, meteorites, we see them all the time in the sky, and the government doesn't show up for very many of them, as far as I know.
No, and it's not going to cordon off an area, maybe for safety reasons, but even then, it seems like a lot of resources for a meteorite.
Yeah, you want to take this?
Yeah. So the government's explanation that it was a meteorite is not supported by the evidence. One of the key pieces of evidence that supports the idea that the object was not a meteorite is the fact that it was said to have strange markings on it that resembled hieroglyphics.
Also very common with UFO sightings. What's the one in the UK that happened? We've talked about it on the
Rendlesham.
show. Rendlesham, yeah, thank you. The army people that saw the craft said the same thing.
Yep. Roswell too, right? Has that one beam, that I-beam, they said had hieroglyphics as well.
Very strange.
Some witnesses have claimed that the markings were similar to ancient Egyptian symbols and that they saw military personnel examining them closely. One of the witnesses, a local resident, claimed that it, quote, it looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics. And another said it had strange symbols that looked like they were from an ancient language.
Very, very weird.
That is strange.
I know on our military craft, we put numbers and letters on the outside to designate the plane, but we don't have a full, script on the side of the craft.
No, we don't.
This is from the U.S. military. Please don't touch.
Yeah, and if you've ever been to like an ancient Egyptian museum, like Tutankhamun's grave, like those artifacts, a lot of the artifacts have Egyptian writing on it, and they say they did it for magical purposes, whatever that means, to protect it, to protect the person. They were very superstitious that way. So strange. That has to be also same thing. It's around it, Okay, with the Russians, what if it was a Russian thing? Like some people say, would they mistake some Russian letters or lettering?
Yes, was it called Cyrillic?
Yeah, I don't know.
But man, again, I just don't buy the fact that if it was the Russians, why are they putting lettering on the outs? Unless it's to throw us off the scent.
Yeah, or no. The Nazis, I mean, they were into like the Thule Society. It's a secret society, which also, I think, is linked to the Rosicrucians, which go back to ancient Egypt. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, I mean, people don't know, but Apollo 11 had a swastika on the side of it, and they had to scrape it off the last second.
What? Are you kidding? You're kidding. Okay. Yeah. You sounded really serious there.
But I mean, we all know about the Apollo program.
Right, exactly. Yes, they were. It's Nazi scientists that were in charge of it. Yeah, for sure. Another piece of evidence that supports the idea that the object was not a meteorite is the fact that the military and government officials were able to remove the object so quickly and efficiently. This has led some people to believe that the military had prior knowledge of the object and had planned to retrieve it before it crash landed. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of speculation that this is some sort of American made probe or something that crashed, and that's why the military was so gung-ho about getting it back.
The speed at which the military arrived on the scene and the efficiency with which they removed the object has led some to believe that the object was not a meteorite, but was instead some sort of advanced technology. In addition to the strange markings and the quick response of the military, there are also reports of a strange smell that was emitted from the object. Some witnesses have described the smell as being similar to burnt metal or kerosene. All right, that's not sulfur. This has led some people to believe that the object was not a meteorite, but was instead some sort of advanced technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely like when you look. I was just talking about the Apollo program. When you look at what the astronauts came back down in when they landed on Earth, I mean, it's not exactly acorn shaped. It's not shaped like the Kecksburg UFO, but I mean, it's similar.
It is very similar. Yeah,
shape.
Yeah. So it could have been something like that too, some kind of test.
Yeah.
With people inside.
Despite the many questions surrounding the Kecksburg UFO crash, the government has never released any official documentation or evidence to support its claim that it was a meteorite. This has led many people to believe that there was a cover-up, ding, 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 and that the true nature of this object remains a mystery. In recent years, there have been efforts to uncover more information about the Kecksburg UFO crash. MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, has conducted investigations into the incident and has interviewed several witnesses. Additionally, the Pennsylvania state legislature has passed a resolution for the release of any government documents related to the incident.
No shit.
However, despite these efforts, the true nature of the Kecksburg UFO crash remains a mystery. Many UFO enthusiasts believe that it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft that crash landed on Earth, and that the government and military covered up the incident to keep the existence of UFOs a secret. The strange markings, the quick response of the military, and the strange smell emitted from the object are some of the factors that support this theory. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
The Kecksburg UFO crash is a topic that has been widely debated and discussed in the UFO community, with multiple books and documentaries being made about this incident. One of the most notable books on the subject is The Day the Earth Stood Still at Kecksburg by Stan Gordon, which presents the account of the incident and the investigation he conducted. Additionally, the documentary The Kecksburg Incident, directed by Seth Breedlove, presents the testimony of the witnesses and experts, providing a deeper insight into the event.
I think we have that.
Cool. Nice. In conclusion, the Kecksburg UFO crash of 1965 remains one of the most intriguing and mysterious events in the history of UFOs. The official explanation provided by the government that it was a meteorite is widely disputed by witnesses and UFO enthusiasts who believe that it was actually a cover-up of an extraterrestrial encounter. Yeah, I mean, how many lame excuses does the government have, like, queued up? Like, oh, it's swamp gas. Oh, it's the planet Venus. Oh, you're seeing the moon reflected off of that. Well, it's the moon reflected off of Saturn, off of a bug that you saw. I don't know.
I mean, I think they'd rather us come up with conspiracy theories, and just,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and just be confused and have all these distractions. And I found here, like, it was a good summary of some of the conspiracies or explanations that have been offered up by by different researchers. Definitely not the government. The government said it's a meteorite, and that's it. That's the story that they're going by. So this one says the first conspiracy compiled by researchers was that pieces of the Russian aircraft Cosmos 96 landed in Kecksburg. Researchers came to this conclusion because the morning of December 9th, 1965, Cosmos 96 had landed in Canada. Two Cosmos 96 was a classified Soviet Union space probe that had failed to launch. However, this conspiracy was quickly disputed when Project Blue Book compared the trajectories of both crash sites. The trajectory of the Cosmos 96 landing couldn't have played any role in the events at Kecksburg. 3. In addition, Leslie Keane concluded in her 2003 investigation that the aircraft was not Cosmos 96 after receiving classified NASA documents on the incident in Kecksburg. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. We do have a video of Leslie Keane, by the way.
Nice.
She did some work on this. Next, many people developed the conspiracy that the alleged object was space debris or an American aircraft. The United States Air Force's UFO investigative operation, Project Blue Book, eliminated the idea of space debris by their report. Project Blue Book reported that no United States space debris was reported re-entering the Earth's atmosphere that day. Redfern states, quote, as a result, elements of the Air Force took careful initial steps to try and resolve the mystery, but publicly at least could find no evidence whatsoever that either an aircraft or a missile was a definitive culprit. Yeah.
Wow.
The Blue Book report ended the thought of space debris or an aircraft, however. And John Venture and Owen Eichler created a new theory in 1991 that it was a GE Mark II re-entry vehicle, like what you said, kind of.
Yeah.
This theory came to light after the government released documents on the American aircraft. Venture and Eichler discovered 4 similarities between the Kecksburg UFO and the American aircraft. The first similarity was that the GE had 4 control jets, explaining the controlled turning descent witnesses had described. In addition, the GE Mark II re-entry vehicle was constructed out of copper, explaining the green flames witnessed. Next, the photos of the re-entry vehicle showed markings that might have seemed foreign to observers. Like what? Finally, the shape of the re-entry vehicle was extremely similar, both having an acorn-shaped body. Venturer and Eichler also think the extreme military presence and quick cleanup was to cover up the American government was spying on the Soviet Union. I mean, I guess I haven't, I didn't look up the GE Mark II.
Yeah.
Here, can I?
Might be worth looking at.
Yeah. How can I? Hey, excuse me. GE Mark II. There we go. GE Mark II. Let's search this. It's so cool. Like in Edge, now you can ask Copilot.
Oh, nice.
Which is like ChatGPT.
Right.
All right. Search the web. Let's go to images. I mean, it's good we did this.
Yeah, it's kind of close, I suppose. Not.
It looks much bigger, honestly. Oh. Or it looks much smaller.
Well, and it's not like the ring around is not fully attached like an acorn would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it says that something, they could confuse something with writing. I don't see that.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself. There's no Egyptian hieroglyphs on the side of that thing.
What is this? This is it. Mark II entry. All right. I mean, this could be offered up as an explanation.
Yeah, for sure. I could see that. That one, not so much.
No. This is something else, I guess.
The cops about to bust your door down or what?
I know, right? It's so loud, man. All right. And then there's one final conspiracy. Where is it? another conspiracy surrounding. You want to take this one? Can you
Go
read,
ahead.
actually?
Go ahead.
Yeah, another conspiracy surrounding the Kecksburg UFO incident is that the object that landed was an alien UFO. There are some eyewitness testimony that states some compelling evidence that it was alien activity. One witness told Stan Gordon that they had saw an arm hanging down with 3 digits and lizard-like skin. In addition, a man working at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base claimed he saw a body that was 4 to 5 feet tall and weighed about 80 pounds lying on a workbench with lizard-like skin.
Huh.
Don Sebastian was in Kecksburg when the object landed and attempted to access the crash site. Mr. Sebastian states that his attempt resulted in him hearing blood-curdling screams, causing him to flee the woods. In addition, NASA and the Air Force's secretiveness of the events at Kecksburg added to the possibility of a UFO. The military forces who secured the crash site were heavily armed, according to eyewitness testimony, and were quick to resolve the situation. NASA refused to release any documentation of the event until 50 years later. The actions the government took to cover up the Kecksburg UFO incident lead people to believe it was aliens.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, we do have a video of that guy who did say that he witnessed the lizard-like creature.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, we'll see. So yeah, lots of conspiracies, lots of explanations offered up. It was a quick event, like they said. So now, obviously, if this was a crash retrieval, they've had decades now of practice from the 40s for crashed UFOs, right? So they have the protocols in place. They can come in, they can remove the object, clean everything up, and cover it up. It's just part of the operation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Part of the operation. It's old hat at this point. They're well practiced.
Right. Sightings did a good documentary on it as well. And then we have one of the witnesses. So we can try and watch this.
All right. Sounds good.
Can forward them.
One of the most puzzling and controversial UFO sightings in U.S. history, Pennsylvania. But in 1965, Kecksburg lost its anonymity when it became one of the world's most famous UFO landing sites.
Oh, and I did look at any nukes we did in 1965. No, that was all done. The 62 was the one we did in the atmosphere. And in 65, it was mostly just underground.
Interesting.
So
okay.
It was nothing like that, yeah.
I happened to look up in the sky and I seen this red fireball.
It sure wasn't a meteor, because I've seen them fall before. I never seen any of them with blue lights on.
And it looked like it made a turn and come back again. And when it come back, it seemed like it went down.
It was December 9th, 1965, a night that many townspeople will never forget.
I got my flashlight and I started down through the woods up to where it was at.
There was no wings, there was no tail section, there was no motors, there was no windows, there was no doors. It was big enough for a grown person to stand up in.
It had like Egyptian writing, like backwards writing on it.
Stars and circles and dashes and lines and things like that.
It looked like an acorn.
It was really weird.
Some claim the UFO wasn't the only thing to arrive that night.
It wasn't too much longer. Down through the woods come 2 gentlemen. The one gentleman, very ramrod straight, very authoritative voice, crew cut hair. I mean, he just reeked of military. He looked at the object and looked at us. He says, all right, this is now a restricted area. Means we're all ordered out of here.
Some military people come to the house and just said they'd like to use the phone. They sort of took the house over.
We start talking among ourselves, what's going on. About that time, up here on the road, comes a big flatbed truck in.
The flatbed went down and empty, and they come back. He got out with something on the back of it, covered up about the size of a Volkswagen.
That truck was hell-bent for leather, and if you'd have walked out on that road, you'd have still been there, or they'd have scraped you up with a putty knife. They weren't stopping for anything or anybody. And that began the real mystery of this whole thing.
27 years later, what happened down there in that woods surrounded by fields, if anything happened down there at all, is still a matter of bitter controversy.
You've got this town split into 2 groups. You got the believers and the non-believers.
There's been some friendship lost, and it's foolish as far as I'm concerned.
I have a brother-in-law that he hasn't spoken to me for 2 years, said that I lied about everything, but I never lied about a thing.
You got neighbors and neighbors that has known each other all their life. Now they don't want to talk because one believes it and one don't believe it.
Just as the town is divided, so too are experts who have researched what really happened in Kecksburg. Planetary expert Robert Young believes that some citizens may have perpetrated a hoax. He claims the UFO was...
Oh, that's a new one, a hoax. All right, let's listen to him.
Oh, great.
I mean, yeah.
merely a meteor known to have passed over Ontario and several northern states that evening.
Virtually all of the accounts can be explained by people having looked toward and seeing the Ontario meteor.
How about the accounts, though, of the military that turned out in large numbers, kept people away from going down there, truck that went down into the area and came out? You got eyewitnesses that say, this happened.
Right. I understand it. I have written, signed eyewitness accounts from 61 local people who say that there was nothing crashed here or was recovered. There was no military occupation.
A lot of people probably think you're the government.
Well, sure, yeah, but I'm not.
I don't know how some people can say that nothing ever happened when there was so many people that saw things that night. Something had to happen.
I know what I saw, and I'm not going to deny it. They can tell me I'm lying, but I know that I seen the military in my house that night.
Freedom of Information Act states there was 212 military personnel here that night.
Sightings attempted to speak with the...
That's hilarious. That other dude completely lied. Completely. He said there was no military and I was 61 witnesses. Total fed.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say he's definitely getting money from somewhere.
Yeah, what does it cost? Like a few $1,000s from the confuse people?
I suppose. Yeah. Hey, FBI, if you're listening, my fee is $10 million. I will say whatever you want me to say. Just $10 million, please.
That's cheap. That is money worth well spent.
Yeah.
All right.
Kecksburg residents who deny anything extraterrestrial ever happened here, but they all refused our invitation to talk. Even the landowner whose property was the alleged crash site remains silent.
I think the government bought them off or threatened them with something that got them scared half to wits.
Ironically, their refusal to talk has only deepened the controversy. UFO researcher Stan Gordon heard about the Kecksburg incident on the radio the night it allegedly happened in 1965. He's been investigating the sighting ever since.
So much of what we know about the case now, we've learned since about 1987, with the fact that now we have at least 4 different eyewitnesses who apparently saw the object on the ground at Kecksburg. The fact that there are dozens of people independent of each other who don't even know each other yet, who have given us detailed information about what they experienced and saw that night. And they're giving us confirming information that has not been published yet.
The skeptics, and these include the people who own the land and some very substantial citizens of Kecksburg, think that this whole thing is loony.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they feel so strongly the other way?
Could be that some of these people were in the wrong place at that time. They were in a position where they didn't see what was going on. And if you see the geography of the area and where the majority of people were that night, they could not have seen the military activity that was happening on the land on the other side of the area down there.
Do you have any hard evidence at all that what went down in the woods near Kecksburg was something other than a meteor, or was anything at all?
Unfortunately not. As in so many of these cases, you have to go by the eyewitness accounts. And in this case, the eyewitness accounts are very, very strong. And again, unfortunately, we don't have that type of information. If this was the case, whether it be a space probe or in other UFO cases, sure, if we had the physical hardware, the mystery would be over.
What do you think it is?
What do I think it is? At this point, and again, this is not conclusive, at this point, the weight of evidence would point in the direction that this may have been a Soviet space probe.
If the object were proven to be a Soviet space probe, then many questions would be answered. If a Soviet device landed in Kecksburg, the government would have been required by international treaty to recover and return immediately any space debris to the country of origin.
Well, as you read before, too, the Project Blue Book actually said that it's not a Soviet space probe.
Right.
Or ours. So kind of Project Blue Book is pointing people to the direction that it's it's something else, right? Unless they're covering up that it's a US one.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, and so one of the witnesses was on Montel Williams, that Jim Romansky guy. And Montel Williams, for those that don't know, was one of those daytime American shows that used to bring on these people, which they don't see anymore in the media.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't get to see this kind of stuff anymore. It's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, we don't see abductions in the news. Well, because we don't have these types of shows anymore, especially on mainstream, because no one's watching it. Oh, speaking of that, MSNBC is for sale. You sent me that. All right, so here's Jim Romansky. We saw some clips of him in the previous clip. So here's Jim Romansky on Montel Williams.
What you saw when you arrived in this field where the supposed downed aircraft was?
Well, first of all, we were in a field hunting for this downed aircraft, and the first rescue team already found it and radioed into the fire hall, gave the coordinates, and it was down in front of us, and we hightailed it out of our search area, went down into there, and we got there expecting a smashed up airplane. Wings, fuselage, etc. No such character. Came down through the woods, and here's this humongous piece of metal laying there. I mean, this thing I've described time and time again as a very large acorn-shaped object. The front of it, or I presume was the front of it, was pushed down into the dirt where the way it came in and landed after it took out the top of the trees and brush and everything coming in. Came back in an oblong shape. Around the bottom was what I call a bumper, and then the bottom was perfectly flat. No signs of propulsion or anything. There was no doors, no windows. There was no ways of getting in this thing, at least none that I seen. There was no seams on it, no rivets, nothing. The only thing I seen was this bumper around it, and it had these real strange markings on it, which I've often referred to as similar to the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. So as a volunteer fireman, we did what we were supposed to do. Find the crash site, do a preliminary investigation for survivors or treat anybody with it, which we didn't because there was none that we could see. There was no way of getting in this object. The first team had already radioed in its position. We're there 10, 15 minutes all talking around, doing a preliminary search, wondering what we discovered. Two gentlemen come down through the woods, trench coats on, ramrod stiff, crew cut. All right, this is a restricted area. You're now ordered to get out of here. Oh, wait a minute, I'm a civilian. You ain't gonna order me nothing.
Yeah.
But as a fireman, I'm being relieved from what I'm doing. So I got out of there. We're going out through the woods. We didn't go no more than 15, 20 feet. And I know from me to you, here come the military. Full uniforms, equipment, marching right down through the woods with flashlights. This is December. It's late in the evening. It's cold. It's wet.
How far away were you from a military base?
Well, the closest base that I knew of was Pittsburgh, which is approximately 45 miles to the west.
So within 15 minutes of your arrival at the site, the military was there.
You got it.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, what did they say to you after this happened? I mean, I know there were several members of the report I saw on Unsolved Mysteries. Several members of the community were there. People, right? Other people that part of the community were there and present and were all told to leave.
There was no press or media at the immediate crash site.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't know up on top of the hill, because I'd come in through the side, the military had taken over a farmhouse. I mean, from what I understand, military brass. They took over up there, did all their orders and whatever they were doing from up there. And that's where I presume that the military who came down through the woods came from. Because when we went out, we had to walk back to the fire hall, which is approximately the way we had to go, I'd say a good mile. But by the time we got back to the fire hall, it was wall-to-wall military. I mean, there was trucks and jeeps and cars. There was guards on the door.
Did anybody say to you, I don't want you talking about this, don't say a word about this, or were you with that term debriefed?
What they did. I mean, these people virtually told us just to shut up, get to your vehicles, and be quiet.
And you did what you were told.
One of the guys even asked the guards at the door, look, I got to go to the bathroom. Now, these guys are standing there with weapons. Whether they were loaded or not, I don't know. None of us was brave enough to try to find out. He said, I got to go to the bathroom. They said, see those weeds over there? Use them. Well, by that time, we just headed for the trucks. I
I have a daughter and a son that both went into the military within the last 2 or 3 years. One went in the Marine Corps, one went in the U.S. Air Force. My daughter come to me from the United States Marine Corps, and she said, Dad, your name come up on a computer as my father. I had to sign a statement saying I would never ask or request for any information from Kecksburg. My son had to sign 2 statements.
Oh, about you? About yourself?
Pardon?
Any information about yourself? Your daughter had to sign a paper that says she would not ask for any information about you?
Not about me, but about Kecksburg. Because my name come up as her father.
Okay, but you know what?
Then, no, wait a minute, Montel.
Okay.
Then my son in the U.S. Air Force had to sign 2 papers. One.
Jim, wait, let's jump to the chase, because part of the chase here is the fact that I'm telling you, I had some of the highest clearances this country has to offer. I've been through files on top of files on top of files. I still ain't seen nothing yet.
But did you have the need to know?
But
you didn't have the need to know.
Yeah, but that's also
now,
not true.
my son goes in the Air Force, and they tell him he can't even request to go to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for duty because I seen something, and that's where my UFO is sitting today.
Maybe his MOS was something that they didn't have a qualification for it, Wright-Patterson.
His MOS has nothing to do with it.
Okay, all right, hold on
The
a minute.
government is covering this up. They don't want no one to know. They don't want no one to get access to anything because they're afraid people will find out the truth. The technology. You was in the third.
Wait a second. Hold on.
You really.
Wow.
These shows will always end up in screaming, right?
I love it, man. This unfortunately, this led to Jerry Springer and who the hell's that other guy? We used to watch him during football, not during football practice, but it was always on in the locker room. I can't remember his name. This guy, he's so passionate. He's clearly making this all up on the fly.
I know, right? And talking about his kids and
this is unfortunately, this is what happens, and I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it. When you bring UFOs into your life, it ruins your life. It ruins your life and everyone around you, their lives, unfortunately.
Yeah, because like you said, there's the believers and the disbelievers, and ones that just believe what the government says, and ones that believe what the witnesses say, and it causes a division, which they love. The government loves that.
Yeah, they feed off
people. Yeah,
I mean, this is, I'd argue this is why Arrow exists in the first place.
Right? Arrow does the same thing. Yeah, and we'll see what they've done last week.
Yeah, I mean, they keep getting caught in lie after lie, but that's what the government thrives off of. They want Arrow to be lying and be caught lying because it drives conspiracy theories, which the government can dismiss as conspiracy theories. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. And I see that in my feed all the time, these new articles that come out about conspiracy theories and UFOs. Like, they just don't stop talking about that.
Yeah.
So this is in 2003. It was a lawsuit done by Leslie Keane and the Sci-Fi Channel. They sued NASA for information.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, about this. So, people have been interested in this for decades and researching this for decades. And
NASA, never a straight answer.
Never a straight answer. They can never just tell us what the hell is going on, even though they're a public agency.
Yeah, they work for us. People always forget that the government works for us. They don't act like it, but we need to hold them accountable.
No, they definitely don't. We're taxed. Everything we do is taxed, funding it. So I don't know what gives them the idea that they don't work for us.
The most frustrating for me in the FOIA requests so far has been the Army, actually. I was just really shocked when I saw the response they made to our request, because we provided them with extensive documentation as to the fact that there was an Army presence that night. It was without question the Army was there. For them to come back and say, your request isn't specific enough, we can't help you, we don't know where to look for this information. How much more specific can you get than giving the exact date, time, and location of the event?
During the press conference, Attorney Lee Helfrich of LaBelle, Novens, and Lamont spoke of just how difficult it is to get information from the government.
One of the things that we expected was the no records response, which is, I think, number 10 in the list of 329 ways the government can refuse your FOIA request.
Acting on the Coalition for Freedom of Information's behalf, Helfrich appealed NASA's no records response and won. If NASA doesn't provide the records requested, a lawsuit will be filed against them. News of the lawsuit made newspapers and websites across the country. Even some all-news networks carried the story.
You know, stories in small towns often tend to take on a life of their own. Well, now the Sci-Fi Channel is trying to get to the bottom of it all, going so far as to join a lawsuit against the government to reveal what it knows.
Within hours of the press conference, NASA dropped a bombshell. The agency was releasing 36 pages of documents to the public. After 38 years, the long wait was over.
Lo and behold, that very day, our attorney got a call from NASA saying, oh, we've put some documents in the mail to you today. So everybody was fascinated and excited. Oh, what are they going to be? Are they going to be significant?
Among the many items Leslie Kean had asked for were the Fragology files, a catalog of objects that had fallen from space during the 1960s.
We were given a list of what some of these files were dating in the 1960s, that they did exist. We very much want to get access to the Fragology files because we believe they could have something to do with the Kecksburg case. We've been told by NASA, though, that these files have been missing since 1987. The fact that the documents were supposedly missing in 1987, but then there was a notation later that said in 94 they were at the Federal Records Center, certainly raises a red flag. We want to keep pursuing NASA to find those files for us. There's references to Project Moondust in connection with these files. One of the mandates of Project Moondust was to search for UFOs. So it's a bit of a long shot, but whenever you see something as suggestive as this, of course, we want to see what's in them.
That's amazing. So
Isn't it-
too much was revealed.
Isn't it funny that every time that we want to know something important, the files are just missing?
I
There's
know.
references to Project Moondust in
Well, always missing, destroyed. We can't find them.
Yeah, just or they're they've been accidentally, instead of using a highlighter, they accidentally use a Sharpie. It's just ridiculous. The shit that we let our government get away with is absurd.
No one thinks that's weird, and then they say it's a meteorite. It's just so funny. It's hilarious.
Well, it's hilarious in like a really sick, horrible way, but yeah.
And try to convince someone that's on the side of saying that they believe it's a meteorite. Just try to like show all this evidence. Like, nah.
Well, no, but
crazy.
that's exactly what they do. Is they go, no, this is all conspiracies. It was a meteorite. Yada yada yada. And they'll go like, oh, if it was something else, why isn't there any proof? And then you show them this, and they go, well, that's not proof.
Yeah. So wait, did Project Blue Book say that it was a meteorite? But they dismissed it was a Russian thing. They dismissed it was.
I don't know what the Project Blue Book summary was. You said you looked into that.
Yeah. Well, Project Blue Book, I know that they said one that wasn't Russian and it wasn't a U.S. aircraft. So they might have.
Dark Horse. It was North Korea. What?
in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This Vietnam War was going on back then.
Hell yeah.
I bet you can always, any war that we've done, you can always link it back to something with UFOs. I bet you can.
Yeah.
Vietnam, Korea.
Hell, I mean, even if you look back at Roman wars, like way back in the past, they've got countless stories about weird UFOs helping them or landing in the middle of their battle.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
Alexander the Great too.
Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, and then
I know. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a video of a lot of the witnesses. We'll just see a few of them, and then there's that guy who actually saw the alien.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, what if? Okay, maybe we'll talk about it after we see him. We can talk.
No, I mean, so I'm gonna put forward this theory, and I've talked about this numerous times on several different episodes. I think that we're half the phenomena, right? Like, I think whatever this thing was, it appeared to be as human as it could. Hence the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Like, they suck at it, right?
Yeah, right. They're just trying to communicate with us,
but they try and make it look as human as possible. And I think
just in case.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what this was. Is this is a UFO crash, but because it's such a psychic phenomenon, they try and make it. They don't try to make it. it's so hard to put it into words. Like whatever is in our subconscious mirrors, like they have a mirror. Oh man.
I know. I see what you're trying to say, and I think that could affect the military too. So say it's a psyop on the military, right? In a way, and they could make it look like a Nazi test of some sort. That Germany did this.
I don't even think they make it look like anything. I think that's just how it appears to us.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah,
and
now we perceive it that way, but
exactly.
Something completely different.
We're going to see something that looks like it may have come from a US or Soviet spacecraft.
Right.
That's why it looks like an acorn, because it's familiar to us. And then the right on the outside, it truly means nothing, but the way we see it, with the way we perceive it, we go,
oh, hey, human.
That's exactly. You go, oh, that's ancient hieroglyphics. Okay, it's human.
Yeah, but we're talking about the 60s here, so we're well into at least 2 decades of this secret war going on.
Yeah, we're in the groovy stage of USA.
Absolutely, and it's 3 years after Operation Fishbowl, which is the nukes in space.
I was going to say which one's. I couldn't remember which one Fishbowl is.
Yeah, I think Fishbowl is. I think the overarching project is called Star Prime, maybe, and then Fishbowl was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So here are some witnesses that we're going to hear from. This guy. This is an interesting one.
Larry Snyder was sitting with a couple of friends at a drive-in restaurant near Norvelt when someone came in and told them of the reported landing.
We were in the restaurant, and there was someone came in, and I don't remember who it was at that time, because that there was a craft or a meteor that landed over in Kecksburg. So there was 3 of us got in a vehicle, and we drove over to the site. And we didn't really know that there were military or anything there at that time. What we were back then were just curious teenagers. So we attempted to get into the site, and we no more than got out of the car and walked down through the field. We didn't get very far, and there was at the point where we tried to get in there was one armed military there that said that we were not allowed in, and we asked him why not. And he said there was a meteor that landed. Well, back then I didn't even think twice, for the fact that there could have been something other than a meteorite. So what we did, we took from the one site where we were, from the one part of the road where we tried to get in, we walked down around the field, and we tried to get in another area where there was a place to, where we thought we could get in to see the craft that landed there. And I say craft, but at this point, but I never got in. So we tried to get in there, but there was another armed military down in there, and they would not leave us in. So we just turned around and we left. I would have to say that the military that we saw there, they were calm about the fact, that we were there. That I couldn't see any hysteria or anything of that nature. The only thing they showed authority that they didn't want us in the area and told us to leave. There was no pushing or anything at that point in time. Whenever I was there, they just told us to leave, and we just did that. We just got in the car and left.
Linda Fosha lived on the.
Yep, it's a meteorite. Who else I want to show? There was this. Wait, what was that? Did I miss that?
All that snow, it looks like Deltlev Pass.
Yeah, actually, I think I missed this one. Here, what's this part? Let's listen to it. This is that guy we just saw on Montel Williams.
Yeah, awesome mustache.
It's connected. What is that? These are not handlebars, is it?
I wish I could. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I want to do that. But my facial hair doesn't grow particularly well.
I hear you. Mine's finally growing in, and I won't even say my age, but it took a long time.
You know what? I've been growing out the facial hair for a while. It's cold. I'm gonna come up with. We're gonna see each other and a few days for Thanksgiving. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll try and cut something really funny into my face.
Nice. Okay.
Inside of it. The very unique thing about the object, there was no signs whatsoever of any type of propulsion unit on it. I have described this object in shape as a huge acorn because it had a sloped side to it, and then it came back, and it was lifted up a little bit in the back like it was a bumper going the whole way around it, and then it dropped down and came straight down the back. But on this bumper was these geometrical and all kind of designs. I have used the terminology. It reminded me of the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics.
All right.
Whether or not that was an exact description, I don't know. There was lines, there was zigzag lines and stars and circles and all kinds.
Director for the Mutual UFO Network. During his research, he came across some interesting information about the Kecksburg case.
On May 30th, 1991, Dr. Armin Victorian, a researcher from Nottingham, England, called Dr. Eric Walker of State College, Pennsylvania. Dr. Walker was the executive secretary of the R&D board for the U.S. government back in the early 50s. He had certain security clearances, and it's been speculated that he had attended some meetings at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base involving crashed UFOs. Dr. Walker also served as the president of the Pennsylvania State University. Armin asked Dr. Walker if he could recall an object coming down near Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in December of 1965. Dr. Walker reportedly responded that he not only remembered the incident, but he was summoned to the crash site accompanied by 2 military personnel. Armin went on to say, then what did you find? And Dr. Walker simply said, and I quote, "I cannot comment on that. I can't tell you." Now, if the object was a meteorite or an asteroid or some other kind of astronomical phenomena, there'd be no reason why Dr. Walker couldn't identify the object. Why was there a secret? If the probe was a terrestrial probe, that is from a foreign nation, and when we got there, the government got there and decided, well, we want to keep this, we'll call it a meteorite and take this back to our labs, then that could be one explanation. However, if that happened, then they broke a United Nations agreement made in 1962, an international agreement, which stated that foreign countries' debris or space debris falls in your backyard, then you're to give it back to them. Another explanation might be an extraterrestrial probe. That is, an object that came from someplace else. If that happened, then we opened up another whole can of worms.
Only a few days after the Kecksburg incident.
That's hilarious. So that guy's from MUFON. They asked that guy. So it's definitely not a meteorite, right? It still could be something Russian if that guy can't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back and forth between this is a true UFO versus this is some sort of top secret government. Maybe it doesn't have to be ours, but just some top secret government thing. Yeah. I mean, the fact that the government were so quick to take it all away, and they knew where it was going to land. I mean, it's very, I don't know.
15 minutes. That guy said 15 minutes they were there.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty wild. I mean that screams. But I mean, God, I mean if it was a U.S.
What if we shot it down in some way, and that's why they knew about it?
But wouldn't the government want to be like, hey, yeah, we shot down this Russian probe or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was a Russian one, oh yeah, for sure. You're right. That's a good point.
I don't know. I love this case. It's really interesting. Of course, the possibilities as to what it could have been are endless.
Yeah, it is endless. And that's what happens when you keep things secret like this, right?
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
I was going to say the fact that the government was so on top of this, makes it seem like it was something, whatever it was, they knew it was going to happen, whether it was a UFO or another country crashing their landing pod, whatever it is.
But again, if it was Russian, we would boast about it. Like, oh, we caught a Russian, right? So it's either a test that we did or we shot something down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or I guess the third one. What if the Nazis, when they were testing stuff, they put something in space and it just took that long for it to crash? You know, I mean, I don't know what the trajectory of or how long a satellite can stay up in space. But you're talking about 20 years. I haven't looked into that. That could be something to look into.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that the Germans put up there, and then it crashed.
Could you imagine? It's Hitler. We shot down Hitler's clone up there.
Yeah, he was the one in there. His clone. So he's another military dude. Oh no, he's a trooper. He's a Pennsylvania trooper.
After the incident occurred.
Well, at the time of the Kecksburg incident, I was a trooper with the Pennsylvania State Police, and I was doing some investigations down in the Philadelphia area. But I did live in Greensburg at that time and was commuting back and forth on weekends. And I heard about the Kecksburg incident through the media in Philadelphia, and I was curious about it. And one weekend when I was home, I ran into Trooper Carl Metz, who was the fire marshal for the state police in our area. And I asked Carl if he heard anything about it. He said that he was at the scene the night that it happened. And he said that he was sworn to secrecy by an Army officer that was at the scene that evening, and he couldn't discuss it any further. So I respected his decision on that and changed the subject. And that's all I know about the Kecksburg incident, other than what I read in the paper and heard on the street.
It was about 20 years after the incident that Carl Metz reportedly discussed with a group of police officers at Greensburg City Hall that he had been at the Kecksburg crash site, and he had seen something unlike anything he had ever encountered before. Howard Burns was a dispatcher for the City of Greensburg Police Department when this conversation occurred.
I was working as a dispatcher in the Greensburg police station. This was in the early 1980s when some of the policemen that were on duty were coming in at change of shift and we were sitting there discussing strange events that various ones had seen and so forth. And Carl Metz was there, and he had said that he was one of the first troopers to arrive on the scene at Kecksburg, and that he had gone down to the area where the object had impacted, and that he believed from what he had seen that at first that it was a aircraft crash site because it knocked several trees over and had impacted into the ground. But when he came across the object partially buried in the ground, he could see that it was no object like anything that he had ever seen before. And that while he was there, several military personnel arrived. They ordered everyone out of the area, including him. And they also ordered him never to discuss this with anyone of what he had seen that night there at Kecksburg. I don't know why Carl decided to discuss it at that particular time, although from his discussion and from what he said that evening, he was not revealing everything that he knew or had seen at that location when he was there. He was still maintaining a certain amount of secrecy as far as a lot of the details of what he had seen.
Just a meteorite.
Yeah, I love it when the government tells, don't talk about this. You just know, that's bad news.
Yeah, exactly. So here's that guy that said he saw an alien. I'm not too sure. I want to keep an open mind.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but let's see what this guy says. And it took him a long time to come forward to, apparently.
During my interview with Myron, he disclosed a shocking detail. He revealed that he saw what appeared to have been a body in the building with the object.
When I walked in the building and seen the bell shape there and they was working on it, I also seen an object laying on the workbench over there, and the workbench runs about 10 to 12 feet long and about 32 inches wide and about 3 foot, about 36 inches off the floor. I seen the left hand of what was in there sticking out underneath of the sterile white pad, and he only had 3 fingers. It was about 4'9" or 4'5" tall if it was standing up, but it looked like it would weigh about 80 pounds. and it had dark green or brownish skin, and it was just like a lizard. I have no doubt in my mind that the body laid on that table, and the left hand of him was sticking out underneath of the white sterile pad that they had placed over him, and he had the 3 index finger, and his skin looked like lizard.
I asked Myron why he waited so many years to divulge what he had seen in 1965.
Well, for the reason I never said anything before, because Uncle Sam said if it word ever leaked out and they had to come and lock you up and throw the keys away or give you a bullet to satisfy you, no one will ever talk about it. Right now's the time to tell it before something drastic happens. And my son, he's 24 years old, and he said, "Why are you going to do it now?" And I said, "Well, I may not live till tomorrow or the next day to tell it, so I'll tell it all tonight and be done with it. The only thing I've got now is a bad heart and high blood pressure and sugar and on oxygen once in a while and walking around taking nitroglycerin. And the only reason I'm telling you now because I may not be here tomorrow."
If Myron's statement of having seen a body is true, this brings up many more questions as to what the object was. Was this a visitor from another world? Or could this have been a crew member of a space device launched from Earth? Could there have been some type of accident where the occupant was exposed to radiation or high heat that could have distorted its physical appearance?
So there we go.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Boy,
It's a tough one.
Torn, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those deathbed kind of confessions, you know.
Yeah,
but I think he's the only one that said that, so that's what I have to think about.
Yeah, who's the guy that he robbed a plane and then skydived out the back of it?
Oh, DB Cooper.
Yeah, you know how many people have come forth and said they were DB Cooper on their deathbed?
Yeah. I mean, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know there's a lot of people.
No, there's quite a few.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This feels similar. Although shout out to DB Cooper. That guy, man, he it was like a rainy, cloudy time. We're going on a weird path here, but
right.
It was rainy, cloudy. He jumped out the back of an airplane with like $1 million, and no one ever found him. So
no one, yeah.
Good job, good job, DB Cooper.
That's definitely a really cool story. Not even a trace.
You're an inspiration.
I mean, okay. Just quickly tell us the story of DB Cooper.
DB Cooper got on a plane. He was in a suit. Did he have sunglasses, or am I misremembering?
Sunglasses, yeah.
He was very polite. Everyone said he was a nice guy. He told the what's it called? It's not a stewardess, but the people on the attendants, whatever they're called. He goes, "I have a bomb. Give me $1 million." I don't even know. It doesn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, the story, doesn't make any sense. It's not like planes, carry a bunch of money on them. Anyway,
yeah. No, I thought there was money. Oh yeah, you're right. No, I think. Oh, now I'm forgetting now.
Anyway,
because I know that he supposedly buried it right when he landed or something.
Well, no, they never found. Okay, so the whole thing was he got the money. He went in the back, and back in the whenever this happened, I think it was the 70s. They had parachutes, and they could open the plane. And so he took a parachute and jumped out of the back of the plane, and no one ever found him.
No one ever found him, and the money.
Or the money, yeah. He succeeded in his, but it was rainy. It was cloudy. That was the thing, is they thought and they were over, I believe it was Washington. Like they were in the middle of nowhere where he would have jumped out. And so, yeah, no one ever found him. But he was super polite, apparently.
He was super polite, and there's been so much, not folklore. Yeah, I guess folklore, but about what happened, that he buried the money and then booked it and hid away. Many say just ran away with the money and no one can find it. But it's a heist. It's a mysterious heist on an airplane.
Yeah, I mean, it's super famous because, I mean, he got away with it. Whatever he ended up doing, he did it.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe he buried it. Maybe he just ensconced away with the money he got, or maybe he died in the fall. Nobody knows. That's why
nobody knows.
In the story.
Yeah. I mean, and just to come back to Kecksburg.
Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. I forgot.
It's definitely not a meteorite, like what the government said.
Right, of course.
And could it be Russian? It looks like no. Could it be U.S.? Yes. Could it be some Nazi thing? Maybe. Alien?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this is one of those cases where there's no hard proof one way or the other.
Because it's a cover-up, right? And they erased all the records, or they've classified it,
or they lost it.
Or
they accidentally put these in the shredder last week.
Right. So this is one of the incidents that supposedly we have physical evidence, right? And it's from the 60s. It can easily be declassified if Arrow was serious and the government was serious. They could declassify these older ones because it's not technology, let's say, that our adversaries don't have.
Right.
There's no way. You're talking about it's 2024. You're talking about 60 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's a Kecksburg case.
Yeah, Kecksburg's a really
Cool
fun
case.
one.
It was a quick incident. We've covered. Huh?
Yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead. You were talking.
Oh no, I think you got cut off there.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna say, this is a really, really fun case with no. I mean, we've covered a lot of things where there's definitive proof one way or the other. This one, it seems like, like you said, there's obviously some sort of government cover up going on here.
And alien, as other ones we've covered, right? It could easily be one of ours.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's really fun.
Right. And the cover up going with this subject.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly a cover up going on, which means whatever this is, it wasn't a meteorite. This is something real.
Exactly. Well, going on, we have some updates. There was the Senate hearing.
How did
last
that go?
week. Okay, yeah, we'll get into. I think. Oh wait, these are updates on the congressional hearing. So this is
okay.
Dr. Stephen Greer. It's just a very 30-second clip about his opinion about what happened.
Right, but why is the guy who's interviewing him? Why is he dressed like he's going into the Matrix?
He always dressed like this. He is the owner of Third Phase Productions. Is that what it's called? Third Phase Productions. They've done a lot of documentaries.
Well, I shouldn't piss him off too much. He can stop bullets with his mind.
He should get the real glasses, the wraparounds.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear Greer's thoughts on the UFO congressional hearings.
All right, the Washington hearings, Dr. Greer.
Yep.
What a past few days, and we're in DC.
Yeah,
and it's kind of the day after, right?
It was what we thought it would be, a nothing burger, because we submitted 23 firsthand top secret guys who've actually handled the material, the craft, all that, and they didn't want to call any of them. So instead, they called a professional disinformation expert, Luis Elizondo, and some secondhand people who knew very little.
All right,
Ouch. All right, so he's saying that they gave a list of 23 firsthand witnesses to Congress, and they did not want them.
Weird. Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah, and that they chose Luis Elizondo and people with, not just secondhand, but maybe third-hand experience with this. And then right after that, this is just 4 days ago. He's saying that they're going to release information to the government and to Newsmax.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I know, right?
Which is very important, is that we're sort of moving beyond the whistleblower phase, and we're advocating for a group that are now defecting from these covert black sites who will hand over to us the dispositive evidence and proof, which we will then provide to you, Bianca, and the media. This is a very bold step. Yeah, well, it's a very bold step. This is something that's just happened. We have a special access project within law enforcement working with us, as well as a group of people who are at 6 different black sites running programs, including reverse engineering ET craft and the man-made ones.
I want you to come
Yep.
back and discuss this, and I think Americans
sure
are
will.
ready. The world is ready. They want this information out, and Dr. Greer, if anyone can do it, you
Thank
can.
you.
Why is it just conservative media wants to see the truth about this? You know, it's Newsmax, it's Fox. What's the other one?
That's
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. It's almost like, leftist media doesn't report what people want to hear about, and they're kind of going out of business.
Right. Because of
know?
that.
Yeah, it's almost
And
like,
other issues with that same theme, right? The lack of transparency.
Right, exactly.
Here's Representative Mace, who head up the congressional hearings last week. She was interviewed by, I forget his name. He's from News Nation. Do they even say?
Mike Colangelo. I could not. Colangelo.
Colangelo.
There it is.
He doesn't say who it is. I think it's Khalil or something. But he's with News Nation. So he interviews Representative Mace right after the congressional hearings.
Nice.
There was that moment where you were talking to Lou Elizondo,
Mm-hmm.
and you had this sort of rapid fire yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked him point blank, is there a crash retrieval program of
Mhm.
UAPs? He answered yes.
Mm-hmm.
You asked him right after that, is this program meant to reverse engineer,
Mhm.
in your words, alien craft? And
Mhm.
he said under oath, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you taking in that moment? Like, what goes through your mind when you hear somebody who is literally testifying after taking an oath who says something like that?
You're sort of awestruck. I mean, all of the witnesses were under oath. You're awestruck by the admission that this is what's going on, and it's surprising, and in some ways, it's really shocking. It's groundbreaking, and now I'm even more curious. I got a stack of files dropped off to my office on Friday. I spent the weekend pouring through unclassified government documents about some of these programs, and so it leaves us with more questions than answers. And now it's sort of a two process. One is about disclosure.
Mhm.
What can be disclosed? When can it be disclosed? The American people deserve some answers here. And then also, how do we protect whistleblowers? How do we get more information? How do we get people to come forward, credible witnesses to come forward? Because some of the witnesses we had last week, it wasn't firsthand. They're using government documents, government witnesses, whistleblowers, et cetera. But I would love to see some of these whistleblowers come forward with their firsthand accounts, especially former military, former pilots, people that are on submarines that have seen some of these things, these fast movers, whatever they are, that they have nicknames for them.
Well, good for her. She's definitely pushing this. And she's being educated. She said that people gave her some unclassified documents,
Love
U.S.
it.
documents. Yeah. So
Love to see it.
yeah. So hopefully she'll get to the bottom of it. I know it's getting her a lot of, I guess, press. She even has like shirts now.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the
I
day,
mean-
she's a politician.
Right.
The two things, for those of you who don't know, the two things that politicians want, number one is power,
Yep.
and number two is ways to keep their power. That's it.
Yeah. So they
They
need
will-
the funding.
They'll say and do anything to keep their power, but if we get some UFO stuff on the side, I guess we're gonna have to live with that.
Yeah, I agree. That's who we have. That's who we can work with. So remember Immaculate Constellation, right? That
course.
alleged program. So this guy received an email with these images, apparently from that database. So here's one. I don't know what this is.
Whoa.
An orb, I guess.
That's
Looks like
clearly the planet Saturn in our
it definitely looks like a planet, though.
yeah, but I mean, orbs are, well documented at this point. So this isn't that. I mean, that's really cool, though. I mean, man.
Yeah. So there's that. There's this. Look at this thing.
Yeah, this one, it looks like someone, man, I don't know. Like, it looks like a mirror, like, when you like take a photo and you cut it in half and then you mirror it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what that looks like to me.
But it's saucer shaped. It
yeah,
looks like
definitely.
it has some electromagnetic fields going through it.
Yeah, super cool.
What else came out of that one? Where's that file? And that doesn't show much. There's this object here, and then 3 other objects here. That, whatever that is.
Love it. Wow. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
So
Cool stuff,
ominous.
huh?
Yeah.
Images come from this video, and I'm sure there's more. This is from Strange Mysteries. He says, I received a creepy email with leaked UFO footage.
All right.
So there's a lot more of these images here. I don't think that one post covered all of them.
Yeah. No, it looks like there's a few more in there.
Yeah, so
this is the PDF of the images. There's 14 pages. These are all images. I don't know, so these are, what are they called?
PDF.
These are infrared cameras, which would mean that's why they're in black and white, I believe. Like shapes like this, they weren't discussed in the thing given to Congress about like the common types of things that people see. Like a starfish thing. I've never heard of that before. This one is just like really here, let me move myself. This one's just like a light in the sky. I mean, you can see it's like really redacted.
Yeah, if you notice, they redact all I guess telemetrics is called, or telemetry, or I guess something that shows what was used.
Yeah, no,
right?
I mean that's standard practice, right?
Yeah.
Here's another one. Super redacted. I mean, I don't know what this is. This could be like a plane. Another one, really highly redacted. Like these could be pretty easily like spoofed or something. Then again, I haven't done a reverse image search on these. And another one, I mean, more redactions, more lights. These the thing is with these images, they don't really tell us much. Like we can't really infer much information from these.
No.
This
nothing.
Maybe that's in the water. It's a bit weird. I haven't seen anything like this before. Like I'm pretty sure that it's like a little thing with 4 legs sticking out of it.
Could that be like what the Chinese balloon was? Because didn't it had a balloon on top, and then on bottom it had the.
It wasn't that big though. The wings, not wings, but the thing sticking out were not nearly that big.
True, you're right. Yeah, it just fit right underneath it.
Yeah.
So cool. I mean, who knows? Could be this information. Probably highly likely that it is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say highly likely that this is disinformation. Like that photo, for example, I don't buy that one for a second.
Yeah, it looks.
This is the one I like. I think it's someone like it looks like it got mirrored 4 ways.
Yeah. And
that one I think is questionable. From what we've talked about on this show, orbs don't look like volleyballs thrown up in the air.
Right. Oh, what's this one? Wait.
We'll get hooked up to that if
that one.
If I publish this video. So
if I publish this video,
well,
I don't know if it's
the fact that he was.
This is kind of a mystery. I mean,
what?
The fact that he was emailed these,
exactly.
Very questionable. Very questionable at best.
Yeah, agreed.
Still really cool stuff though.
Yeah, and this is what the community was saying about the Senate hearings. So this is from Adam Goldsack. DOD Arrow cannot be trusted with Susan Go sitting in the wings. And as for Go Fast analysis, no pilot's testimony, no radar data, No explanation as to where the rest of the video is. No link to gimbal. No explanation as to where the object went. No explanation of shape.
Mm-hmm.
There she is.
Sounds about right.
She's sitting behind him. People are just...
I'm watching you.
Don't make any mistakes. Yeah. So they did debunk Go Fast during the meeting. Thanks, Arrow. Thanks for that.
Did they really?
Yes, they did.
What did they say it was?
They said that it could have been balloons. No joke. I swear to God, they said that. I swear to God, they said that.
Oh my God, our government's so stupid. They're so transparent with their bullshit.
I know. And here's Ryan Graves talking about that. And I'm so happy he's speaking out. Because like Adam Goldsack said, there's no context. Like all they're doing is giving us explanations. No real investigation. They don't investigate. They just want to offer up something quick so the people could calm down and stop asking questions.
Yep, sounds about right. Sounds like government.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
What are your thoughts on what we heard?
Well, it's nice to see that they're putting some analytical effort behind these investigations, and if they determine that they are debunked or not of interest, I think that's a step in the right direction to better understand this phenomenon. However, I would argue that some of these cases are quote unquote debunked or no longer of interest. Specifically, the Go Fast video itself was never really interesting because it was going fast. The pilots certainly didn't say that, nor did they name the video. If anything, the Pentagon simply debunked their own naming for that video. What is interesting, what's anomalous, is that video was captured within minutes of the gimbal video. And it just goes to further show that there were many more objects operating in that area than the first video shows.
Yeah, I mean, what we're missing here is the audio of that whole series, which is there's a whole fleet of them, and a lot of the details surrounding that incident. Do you think that everything is being taken into account here?
Well, no, I don't think everything is being taken into account. I think if the Aero office actually spoke with the pilots that were involved in that incident, they would know the objects were part of a larger formation of objects, and thus very anomalous to be operating 300 miles off the coast and within 50 miles of a U.S. aircraft carrier.
And what about the new cases? He specifically mentions the objects that are triangles and cylinders as the most difficult to investigate. I mean, it's still a lot of big question marks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is that there are videos that are confusing, and sometimes people are led to believe might be a UAP when perhaps it's not. Some videos might be true anomalies that are unknown, but reports that people are bringing in that are sometimes visual and not necessarily captured by a sensor are extremely anomalous and hard to explain, and often quite vivid in their anomalous nature. And I think today they talked about a few of those, but of course, those are the hardest ones to resolve. So I expect those to remain in a category that's their active archive. That means they're not necessarily actively investigating them. They've hit a wall and have no further detail. I imagine that some of the cases in there were probably pretty hard to explain.
So there we go. So they didn't even ask the ones who took those videos, the witnesses, about what they saw. They just offered up an explanation.
Yeah, funny how that works.
So Arrow is basically Blue Book 2.0, right?
Yeah, I thought they got a new person in charge. Was that the woman we saw earlier? Because
no, she's the spokesperson for the DOD, so she was sitting behind him, or to his right. Kozlowski, is that his name? So anyway, the Senate hearing was short. I remember it wasn't very long, and it was just him talking about some cases, and then he debunked 3 cases. One of them was that Go Fast one.
Nice. And debunked is quote unquote debunked.
Right. Yeah, they said with high confidence. And then there's another one they did with medium confidence. I forget. The medium. Remember the one from Puerto Rico from the DHS?
Yeah.
They debunked that one as well as probably 2 Chinese lanterns, they said. Without asking the DHS officers
of course
what they saw. Yeah. So giving us explanations without any investigation. Thanks. Arrow.
Right.
There he is. He's right there. That's the guy. And here's Susan Go. And there's Gillibrand. So Ask a Poll, askapolitician.com, interviewed Gillibrand about the hearings. Nothing too, I mean, of course she's happy because it's her baby. She created Arrow.
Right.
Gillibrand. So she's not going to say anything wrong about it. But she did say in this interview that she would like to see them shoot down these drones that they're seeing.
Good. That'll end well.
Where is it? Scientific majors, whatever. She's just covering up for Arrow. Where is it that she talked about? That she wants to shoot him down. Is it this one? Anyway, we can play what she said.
Yeah, let's listen to it.
Okay.
How do you think this went?
I think it was great.
Yeah.
I really liked it because Arrow could show, particularly to the scientific community as well as the whistleblower and enthusiast community, we take all these cases very seriously. And what I really liked is the 3 examples he used of things we were able to figure out. He shows how we figured it out, so that, if there's 100,000 cases, we're going to be able to figure out half of them to be things like that. But there's going to be another half that we don't have enough data or information. We don't know what it is, and that we're just as interested in the ones we figure out as the ones we don't figure out. And so we have to keep getting more data and information to layer on top of it to know, and that it's a safe place to come forward, and that if there's programs that people have participated in that we don't know about that aren't disclosed in the historic document, that we need to know about that. Like, the historic document is everything that Arrow could assess and document so far. And so for these whistleblowers, if they worked on something that's not in that document, that's interesting. They should come in and see Arrow.
Now, I know you sat down with Kirkpatrick, so did Brown, so did Rubio and Warner, pressuring him because whistleblowers didn't trust Arrow. Do you think this goes a long way in helping that?
Yes.
And what more needs to be done so that
I think it's going to happen. I think the fact that he's already talked to 2 whistleblowers with firsthand information, those are whistleblowers who would not come in before, it just gives us another lens of information. The report that we issued, or the report that Arrow issued, is everything that they were told to date. That's everything. And so if the stuff that someone worked on is not in that report, they need to come in to tell Arrow, because it means they haven't been told about it.
And it was interesting, he didn't really say funding is a problem. Like, how much, because Arrow wasn't trusted, it seems like they have to really work on this makeover. And he's saying resources are needed.
I don't think it needs a makeover. They were able to use the money and time that they had over the last year and a half to get the lay of the land, to get all this historic data culminated, to create procedures and frameworks to get the public to be able to give data and information. They were able to create scientific measures to do the analysis, all of the purpose of Arrow. So no time has been wasted, which I'm very grateful for. And sometimes you need an organization to develop a little bit of maturity before the whistleblower community will feel comfortable anyway. And so I feel like they've done the hard work to create a infrastructure around assessing and documenting information, so now that they can have trust in the system.
And after the Langley incursion, and then that Wall Street Journal piece on it, have more of your colleagues been bringing it up to you?
Yes, because the Langley example is it's an obvious example of how this is a national security priority. And the fact that they didn't readily know what technology was being used is deeply upsetting to me.
Yeah.
So Arrow, thank goodness, still has a role in those, even though they know it's a drone. So Arrow's supposed to assess, is it a drone? Is it a balloon? Is it something other? The fact that they know it's a drone would initially say that Arrow's not going to be involved, but the fact they didn't know what technology the drone was using means that Arrow can be involved, which is very important to me, because I think Arrow is going to be able to do better scientific analysis more quickly than anyone else.
Because one thing Senator Kane pushed ahead of North.
So she basically said that the Langley swarms, they know they're drones, but they don't know the technology, and that's why Arrow can be involved.
Yeah, that's wow.
Isn't that weird?
That's an interesting take on it, I suppose.
Yeah. So they're drones, but we don't know the technology being used. How the hell?
Well, and it begs the question.
A drone then?
Well, whose technology is it, right? So when they say drones, they never ever mean extraterrestrial,
right? Exactly.
They're saying it's some country on Earth, but what in the hell country on Earth is able to do this?
Yeah, and on our territory. I mean, drones have to be launched from somewhere close by. So who's operating within our territory just
we're
doing that?
we're in the midst of a global conflict right now. It's not like Russia's sending over, I don't know, like they've got their hands full, right? Or is it the
Yeah.
Chinese? Is it the dark
I
horse
think it's
candidate?
Chinese.
It's the North Koreans at it
Yeah.
again.
Did you ever play that video game about the North Koreans invading the United States? I forget what it's called. It was a great game.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I know
Oh
exactly what
no.
you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah,
I loved it. Yeah, it was a great game.
yeah, a lot of fun.
Not Red something, no.
No, God, I'm on my laptop right now. I have it on my laptop.
Video game, North Korea.
Let me open up.
Here it
Steam.
is.
Oh no, wait. I'm thinking of a game where you got invaded by
Home
Russia.
front. Home
Home
front.
front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so if you want to play a great game about being invaded by another country, Freedom Fighters. You play a plumber out of New York City, and you slowly you have to take back New York City. It's so much fun, man.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, and you get
from a plumber to like a freedom fighter, huh?
Yeah, it's called Freedom Fighters. It's great. Me and my friend, I'll say his name, JJ, used to play it nonstop because it had co-op. Anyway,
It's got co-op. Okay, nice.
very fun game.
So there's Gillibrand, and now this is a new video that came out from Gallaudet.
USS Omaha in 2019 saw.
Yeah, it's funny. We keep talking about him on the show, but we don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Because everyone says it so differently.
Yeah.
Right? Tim Gallaudet. It's probably Gallaudet. That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
It's a French name, obviously. That's probably not how they say it.
Oh, oui.
So this is right after his hearing, the UFO congressional hearings.
Sweet.
The USS Omaha in 2019 saw this object. It's not a helicopter. It was hovering for a while. Goes into the water. How did it happen? This is an infrared video of it. And it turns out after my hearing, I get a call from the senior chief on watch who was on the bridge from there. And he told me all about it. There were a bunch of them. And he saw it come out of the water and then go back into the water. And he said, and here's what else happened. I then went to the other ship in the area, the USS Jackson, and I saw a lot more stuff. And I won't go into the details because we're compressed on time. But I have some video, Leslie, by the way, which is really interesting. And this senior chief is so interesting. And I'm so, and it's funny when you talk about credibility of sources. I was in the Navy. I know enlisted sailors. This guy's so legit, and I just am so proud of his courage. And we can talk about that later, and that will come out. But that's coming out.
Well, good. So if that guy comes out, that's firsthand witness of that USO.
Yeah.
That they filmed near one of our warships.
Yeah, I mean USOs, I feel like are underreported. In fact, well, shit. I mean, there's an argument that all UFOs are probably from the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense, right? And that's why if you look at that map, I should have paused it when they showed it, but they showed that map of activity, and it's all around bodies of water.
Yeah.
So our East Coast, our West Coast, the Gulf, in the Middle East,
and
then in Asia as well. So President Trump received a UFO briefing from former UAP Task Force Director Jay Stratton.
Woo!
Also, Eric Davis at the Saul Foundation Symposium, November 22nd, 2024. Now, that is exactly who you want him to be briefed by, right? Someone with intricate knowledge of this, who's studied it, investigated it, got an award recently for his work. So Stratton's coming out with a book. I would love that. Would be a book I want to read.
Well, and we should be briefed by President-elect Trump about the UFOs and all this stuff. I'm tired of all this secrecy bullshit.
If someone's going to do it, it's going to be him, whether he believes or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I would hope so. I would hope
He'll piss
so.
off a lot of people too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That'll be him. But that's who he needs to be talking to. People like Stratton, people like Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, for example, as well. So hopefully we can see something in these 4 years. Oh, Ashton Forbes found a video of Eric Davis. He made an appearance on G4 TV. I guess it was like
Whoa, that's a callback.
Back in 2013. And he explained warp drive to gamers.
Awesome. Fantastic. Love to see it.
Yeah. So this is what a find. I can't believe because Eric Davis is very difficult to find stuff on. There are interviews you can find online. There's like 2 or 3, and that's it. You can find his papers, Facebook posts, but something like this I never saw ever. So good on Ashton for finding this. Let's see.
Sometimes didn't go too great. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper. Joining me now, co-editor and co-author of Frontiers of Propulsion Science and senior research physicist at the Institute for Advanced Studies in Austin, Dr. Eric W. Davis. Dr. Davis, welcome. How you doing? Now,
doing great.
Good. Glad to have you. I took one look at you and I said, this is a gentleman who can explain warp drive to me. Like you've got that look about you.
Oh, it's easy.
Oh,
think
I
of
bet it's
space
not.
as the ocean. Think of space as the ocean, and Michael Phelps is a starship.
Right.
He's propelled by fission or fusion rocket, any kind of rocket, but he's swimming vigorously, leaving the planet Earth, and he's going to swim all the way to Alpha Centauri, 4.3 light years away.
Uh-huh.
All right, he's flaying his arms, kicking his feet, expending a great deal of energy, and he can't go very fast. As a matter of fact, the resistance of the ocean water is going to keep him limited to below the speed of light. Einstein's special theory says you can't go faster than light. You can't even reach it, but you can always stay less than. Warp drive is a whole different matter. What you do is you use exotic energy, and exotic energy is just basically a fancy word for vacuum energy. You're going to use some quantum energy from the vacuum, and you're going to surround your warp drive ship, your starship, with a bubble of this energy, and it bends space. It creates like a surf effect, like Michael Phelps is now standing on a surfboard, and instead of swimming through space at less than the speed of light, he's surfing on space. The space is like the wave of the ocean water that surfs him to the beach faster than light. He can move faster than light, rather than the speed he would have had gone through if he was swimming the old way.
Okay.
The old-fashioned way through rockets.
Okay. I'm closer to understanding, but that doesn't mean I'm close to understanding. So what is holding us back from creating a warp drive?
First of all, it's a technology development program. The theory requires stupendous amounts of vacuum energy, which we make in really tiny amounts in laboratory experiments on the Earth. We just don't know how to make humongous amounts of vacuum energy.
Right.
However, my colleague and personal friend, Sonny White at the NASA Johnson Space Center, has done a modified theory of warp drive, where he has brought the energy requirement down to something possibly that can be done engineering in his lab. It could be engineered possibly down to about the mass equivalent of the Voyager 1 space probe. And then the next question is to produce this negative energy, this exotic energy, in the laboratory using a technique that can be scaled up to make the magnitude of energy that's needed. So it's just a technology development program right now. The theory exists, the proof principle exists. This is valid and proven in Einstein's general theory of relativity. It's just that we just don't have a technology to make it right now. And it could take us 100 years, it could take us 200 years to build this technology, but disruptive innovations are not predictable. They can pop up anytime between now and 200 years from now. They could pop up next year, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, and we could have warp drive within our lifetime. We just can't predict when some genius is sitting somewhere and a light bulb goes off over his head, and he figures out a innovation which can overcome this problem of producing negative energy in large enough quantities.
Now, how if
this is so crazy to hear him like talk like this, because he's been on other podcasts and interviews talking about crash retrievals and how to get on those teams and get trust and network and all that stuff. So what a crazy interview to watch. Seriously.
Yeah, it really is.
Because it's mainstream, right? So he's trying to stay as mainstream as possible, but he's talking about warp drive and how real it is.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if G6 is mainstream, but it was for a while there. Or G4, whatever the hell it's called.
Right, yeah. So what year was that? That was
2013.
2013. So damn, 11 years ago.
Man, I'm getting old. 2013 feels like not that long ago.
I know, that's why to look like how far it is.
So this was posted on Reddit in the Aliens
Yeah.
subreddit. So the title of the post, serious. Philippines might be harboring aliens' life, and I did not misspeak there, aliens' life, which is disguised by humans. Marianas Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, and is at least 200 kilometers from Marianas Island. However, the second deepest part of the ocean is the Philippine Trench, which is lying just east of the Philippines and very close to the country. If UAPs are coming from the ocean and alien life probably exists there and is capable of blending in with human society, then most likely Philippines is home to disguised aliens.
That is hilarious. So I did send this to someone I know.
Mhm.
And then they told me, they're like, you need to look into Philippine folklore. And there's apparently there's a series on Netflix, like an anime series that talks that features these stories. So I haven't done that yet.
Do you know what it's called? Because that sounds right up my alley.
Tree or treat, maybe TRETE or TETE, something like that.
Okay. Well, if
Yeah,
sweet.
I have it. I'll send it to you.
So this post also includes this Fox News article. Harvard UFO study claiming aliens could be on Earth disguised as humans is a quote unquote thought experiment, expert says. The study by Harvard and Montana Tech. Hey, Montana Technological University says aliens might be living among us on Earth. Anyway,
wow, and that study with the Philippines.
We do know that. I mean, we talked about it just a while ago. Aliens love water, or they're from the water, and so it's not that far of a reach to come up with this conclusion.
Exactly, and I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's actually that top comment is very interesting. How did they jump from thought experiment to university said aliens might be living among us? A thought experiment literally isn't a claim.
True.
So I work really closely with a guy who's from the Philippines. I'm gonna have to ask him about this.
Yeah, and ask about their folklore. Apparently, it's
actually,
strange.
I am really interested in that.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll send it to you. I forget what it is now, but
All right.
or
Yeah,
wait,
please.
Can
please.
I quickly find it? Let me see if I can quickly find it. And it's cool that I mean, it's crazy how much content Netflix has.
Yeah, there's so much on there that is unknown. People don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So it's called Trez. TRESE.
Trez. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll
trees, I
start
guess.
watching that tonight.
Yeah, we love animes.
Yeah, I started watching this one about Vikings. This was not a very good segue because I can't remember the name of the show and I don't want to talk about what it's about. Anyway,
Okay.
lots of cool stuff.
Another 4chan comment. So
the best website.
Yeah,
Dude,
so
I can barely read that. Do you want to take this one?
Okay. All right. So this guy on 4chan says, people think they want to see the evidence. I get so sick of seeing these hopeful, naive, numbskulls on Reddit and shit talk about how quote unquote humanity is ready or quote almost ready to learn. No, the F you are not. I wish I hadn't learned. The problem is that people want sexy evidence like long, clear HD videos of ships in flight or maybe even a recording of a NHI speaking. But we only have a handful of the former and only one of the latter. And trust me, nobody wants to hear what it apparently said. We don't have any preserved alien corpses or whatever. We have a ton of radar and sonar blips, thousands of personal testimonies, but people will shrug at that. We have a few images of the aquatic structure, but nothing that some jaded hipsters won't laugh off as Photoshop. The real best evidence we have are thousands of images of corpses, not just skinned and drained like the cattle mutilations, but contorted, warped, transformed into impossible concoctions of flesh and organs. weird metallic devices plugged into open wounds and mouths. We have video of a completely mangled headless corpse found in the woods next to a brain and its attached eyes resting on a 4-foot metallurgic tub of some goo. It had needle-like objects. That sounds like a hoax. It had needle-like objects stuck into it that were automatically injecting the goo into the brain. The brain and eyes had no decomposition, and electroencephalography showed the brain was somehow still alive. We have no idea how long it was out there or what, if anything, it was feeling or seeing. Do people seriously want us to put that on effing 60 Minutes? We're ready for disclosure. You think anyone will be able to keep it cool once they've seen it? Nobody keeps their cool once they've seen it. These things, whatever the F their motives, are effing horrific, and every signal points towards an impending invasion. I can't emphasize this enough. We are detecting them every night now, not one or two, dozens. Please take it effing seriously. So,
yeah, I mean, this is the when people talk about why doesn't the government tell us? I mean, if this is truly the case, then I understand.
Yeah, it's just too weird.
Well, it's not weird. It's downright scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and people can't even handle foreigners. Could you imagine, like, complete
Yeah, no,
aliens?
Right. I know.
And other cultures. All right, that's not fair to say, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. So what's this?
Did you see this? So this is the Fox 5 helicopter cam.
I don't think I saw this.
Okay, so here it is. It actually looks like the one filmed on that drone in Utah.
An incomplete environmental review prior to launching the plan.
Did you see it?
Oh yeah, it very much reminds me of that whole Utah thing. Yeah, look at that.
Claiming there was an
it's like
incomplete
blue.
environmental review
Yeah.
prior to launching the plan.
Huh. I don't think you can call that a drone, and you certainly can't call it a balloon.
Well, Avi Loeb, Unit 8200 Israeli agents, called it a lens flare.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what that is.
Look at that thing. And it's turning.
Oh, wow.
But it's the same angle as that drone footage.
It does. Yeah, no, you were dead on. That reminds me exactly of that Utah footage. Huh. Wow.
But yeah, like you said, it's blue.
A lens flare? Really? That's the best he could come up with?
Yeah. The New York Post did an article on it.
Embarrassing.
Mysterious orb zooming past NYC accidentally caught on film by local news chopper.
Wow. Huh. Cool
Pretty
stuff.
cool. Yeah, Manhattan gets a lot of these.
Yeah, they want to see I don't know what they want to see.
It could be some trillionaire Wall Street guy in his spaceship.
Sure, I suppose.
Just going home.
Yeah.
Here it is, Avi Loeb.
A theoretical physicist. That's nothing. You can be I'm a theoretical physicist.
Right.
I'm a theoretical mathematician also.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a theoretical, yeah, exactly. Anything.
Yeah, I'm a theoretical engineer. I make theories about how engines work. Anyway, he said this is most likely an optical artifact. Wait, I should put it in his voice. This is most likely an optical artifact from helicopter glass in front of the camera, namely a bright spot from the reflection of sunlight as the camera gradually changes its orientation relative to the sun and the ground.
Thanks, Avi. Thanks, Avi. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, you idiots. This is what really happened.
Right. And I don't understand, like, okay, fine. They should put theoretical physicists, but they should say graduate, Unit 8200 graduate Israeli agent.
Yeah.
But no.
Well,
that would be-
they can't do that because if you start looking into who owns the press, well, we can't even talk about that. That's a touchier subject than COVID.
Yeah, it definitely is. And
as
it
we
gets you canceled.
As we've shown on this episode or on this podcast time and time again, the second you start talking about COVID, episode doesn't go up for some crazy reason.
Yep, they definitely love to erase that from the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, but even if it was a real object, this is what Loeb is saying, the apparent speed is of an order the speed of sound and not extraordinary.
I don't buy that.
Yeah. And Tim Gallaudet. They asked him as well.
For several reasons, looks like an artifact and not an actual UAP. Interesting. That's a man. That's so disappointing to hear.
I know. Okay. What are other people saying? The orb appears to be opaque, not transparent or translucent. The characteristic indicated to photo experts at the post that it is not a standard lens flare, which refracts see-through light on camera lenses and also bears a distinct aperture mark. So it's not what Loeb said, Mr. Harvard genius. So they say at the start of the video, it appears that the object crosses in front of a building in New Jersey near Hoboken. A brief shadow is visible on a building. The trace of the shadow is then picked up by the possible object or photographic blemish. So good recording. Yeah. So where else did we see something like this? It was a bridge in New York, I think.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's really cool footage. I don't think it's a camera artifact.
No, definitely not. There was another strange one in Alaska.
Nice. Yeah, this one's super weird. This is this reminds like a lot of the UFO sightings that are caught on camera in Mexico often look like this, and they always say it's like a witch riding a broom.
Oh my god, it does look like that with her hat and everything.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the cape in the back. Oh my god. What?
I mean, nowadays we think of that kind of stuff as ridiculous and funny to, something to laugh at. But I mean, if you saw that kind of thing in real life, you'd be freaking out.
What the hell is that? Balloons.
Yeah.
Just party balloons, right, McWest?
Sure. Yeah, it's a balloon. Man, so weird.
I mean, fine. It's not going crazy fast.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's just absolutely bizarre.
What's this? Video unveils intimate glimpse of UAP with surface dynamics described in Immaculate Constellation Project. Oh, wait a minute.
What the
fuck? Yeah. Okay, so this is another sighting. It shows a cube-shaped object.
Oh my god! What the fuck? Tata! Tata!
What the hell?
Снимай. Eno ga. What the fuck, Nestor? Eno ga, eto.
I like that in all cultures, no matter what language you're speaking, people will curse in English. That's a fun thing.
It just shows you how much of a global empire we are. What the fuck? She goes, what the fuck? And then continues to speak in.
I know how to say that word in Italian. Cazzo.
Cazzo. That means WTF?
It just means fuck.
Oh.
Cazzo.
So. Da.
Very bizarre. I mean, yeah, wow. I don't know what to make of
It's
that.
gone. Yeah. Where's it? Here it is, close.
Yeah, very weird. I mean, again, when you zoom in on a bright light far away with a phone camera, you're not going to get. I mean, that essentially is nothing.
I agree. I mean, I try with my phone all the time. Like my eyes can do better than that.
Yeah.
Like when I zoom in all the way, that's how my eye sees.
Yeah.
You know, like why is it so far back? New York Post is covering a lot of these. I've noticed.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I spotted an absolutely huge UFO hovering over my neighbor's house.
Yeah, November 19th.
Again, it's not a typical UFO. It's a, I don't even know how to describe that.
Yeah, so here he is, 45, was in bed watching TV with his wife. And there it was. He's pointing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know what to make of that.
He didn't believe in aliens, but after seeing the UFO, they are both convinced they exist.
Huh.
Look at that thing.
How do you even describe that?
I don't know, but it was hovering. And he said it was huge. Maybe it was, and then it becomes this.
Yeah.
He said, I kept watching and it started making odd shapes and changing colors.
So, I mean, this is high strangeness.
Yeah.
This is like barely UFO stuff. This is just weird stuff that can't be explained.
And that's when they'll say, well, it's probably just a natural phenomenon that we don't know yet.
Jesus
Even though we've been obsessively watching the sky for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? We just don't understand this.
Yeah, very, very bizarre.
No,
Holy smokes, we're at 2 hours already.
Oh wow. Okay.
Let's move on.
All right. So here's some pictures from Investigation Alien.
Hell yeah.
From Mexico.
Weird.
Which is the Netflix show. Yeah.
Yeah, they clearly got some good footage there. Wow.
Look at that. Let me try to zoom in.
And the things like the orbs floating around it, that's just bizarre.
Yeah, they're always around. It's
Yeah.
like maybe they're protecting it because they know we try to shoot these things down.
Yeah, could be.
Right?
Yeah. So cool.
All right, moving on. We have the release of the UFO Encyclopedia, the 4th edition.
Nice.
So we'll leave that in our notes so people
comes out in December.
Yeah. And they've updated with all new declassified stuff. I'd like to get my hands on this.
Yeah. This seems like a good book that will bring up questions when people see it.
Yeah, comprehensive historical context dating back to pre-1800 sightings.
Wow. Those are some of my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Because, it's mostly eyewitnesses and, serious people. Because imagine back then talking about this.
Right, exactly.
All right. So let's quickly go into politics. So, that Russia tested their hypersonic missiles.
Yeah, and Ukraine got the go-ahead from Biden to use some of their long-range missiles.
And that's why they did this.
Right.
So, our leaders are just hell-bent on destroying this world.
Yeah, it really seems like they really want World War III to happen.
And Russia doing this, it's like, listen, guys, we're serious. Just stop. Here's another angle. Look at these things.
Damn.
It's like lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And all of those, each one of them can have a nuke.
Yeah, that's scary stuff, man. I'm fully expecting, at least one nuke to be used between Russia and Ukraine. We'll see what happens.
Especially before Trump comes in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, quickly. Iranian Handela Group announced hacking IDF Unit 8200. They've been hacked.
Nice.
So there's this war going on.
Yeah, another conflict going on the globe right now.
Well,
Hacking.
At least we have AIGs.
Yeah, I sent this to you. This is from Vice. AI Jesus is now taking confessions at a church in Switzerland. This is so dystopian. I don't even know what to make of this.
I mean, why even go to a church? You can just go to ChatGPT and confess.
Yeah,
to GPT.
yeah, exactly. Just bizarre stuff, you know?
Yeah. I guess, some churches like to be on the forefront of technology.
Yeah, I suppose so.
He was able to reaffirm me in my ways of going about things, and he helped me with questions I had, like how I can help other people understand him better and come closer to him.
That was one woman. Another woman said, I was surprised. It was so easy. Though it's a machine, it gave me so much advice, also from a Christian point of view. I felt taken care of, and I walked out really consoled. You know what? If this helps people, that's a good thing in my book.
You're right. You're right.
But it is, in my eyes, very dystopian. I mean, this is blasphemy,
Oh, absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a person that has, that supposedly can have a connection to the divine and could help you if you're asking. Just asking a box that's algorithms that really doesn't have those type of connections to the real world.
Yeah.
At least I don't think. Or if they did have that, they wouldn't just give it to the public. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So he sent me this as well. This insane Las Vegas sheriff.
He wants he wants AI for body cams. Let's just put it that.
Yeah, to go through all the footage, right? To go through evidence and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, man, AI is not an impartial. AI only is. It's programmed by a person to have certain, opinions or slants. So,
so it could dismiss people because we've seen these AI are like woke AIs, and it could be start dismissing because of people's gender or race, and it won't see that because just like humans, how we operate, everything comes through our subjective experience. Same thing happens with AI if you program that in there.
Yep.
So it's not like they're fair and unbiased.
Right. I mean, in a perfect world, they would be, but we're not in a perfect world, unfortunately.
No, we're not. Now there is that potential for them to be that way.
Yeah, but it's just this is a world that is it's run by greedy people that have opinions one way or the other. They're not going to do anything impartial. They're going to do things that are totally partial.
Right. That one, divide us, and then two, keep them in power and perpetually wealthy.
Exactly.
All right. So here's the last one. Just it's funny. So this was taken from a Mexican short film, by the way. So it was not made by anything, but then they repurposed it for what's happening with the border and Trump.
Okay, great.
Dude, it's hilarious.
¿Qué pues, pinche gringo mamón? Si tengo mi green card.
Thanks for your collaboration. And remember, don't come back again.
Y el gringo nos quiere cobrar el muro. Dile que no, pinche gringo racista. Pues no te pagaremos nada.
Wait a minute, please.
Somos gente honrada y...
Oh my god.
That's from a Mexican movie?
Yes.
Oh wow.
But because it's just this small clip, it's completely taken out of context.
Sure, of course.
After this part, they have a UFO come down. That's what's their god? The Aztec god, Quetzalcoatl or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be of him, and it destroys Trump and kills him. Basically,
wow.
So the conclusion is different.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Isn't that hilarious?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's all we have for this week.
That's all we have for this week of episode 99 of the
99.
Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
That's right.
Play the song again.
The new one?
Oh, yeah. Boonga boonga.
Ooga booga. Ooga booga UFO.
Traveling late all the way through the night. Nothing but darkness on your left and right. But far ahead and high above there is a light. Tell me, what do you see? What do you feel? It makes no sound and you think this can't be real. But through the static the radio plays, two voices speak upon the airwaves. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast playing in your head. It's a brand new episode every week. That's what they said. Not sure now where you're going to, but no Adam and Topher will guide you. Tune in every week for a new sneak peek into conspiracies, aliens, and government leaks.
Awesome, cuz.
Really awesome.
So where in the world, if I wanted to find us on social media, where should we look?
Well, if you want to find us on social media, we are on X, formerly Twitter. You can find us at UAP, the podcast. I'm also on there at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher It All. Other than that, you can find us on most, if not all, podcasting platforms at Uncovering Anomalies Podcast. And video platforms, we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. Now, if YouTube, because they usually do censor us, it's a great platform. It will help us out if you go there and follow us and like us and share. But if you want to make sure that all the episodes, if you want, they got all the episodes without censorship, then you can try Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. Other than that, we have a support link. Although I did read that might be going away from Spotify, but we have a support link at the end of each episode. So we would love it if you guys give us a pat on the back and like what we do.
Yeah, and if you donate at least $1 million, you can rename the show to whatever you want. We'll be
write the show.
We'll be the John Smith podcast, happily, if you donate that much money.
Right. And what about changing the subject? What if that happens? What if it's some agency that goes, all right, it's time to
listen,
your opinions.
I stated my price at the top of the show, $10 million. This show will become about whatever you want it to be. If you give me $10 million, I'll believe whatever you want me to believe. I'll spit out all the misinformation you want me to spit out if you give me that much money.
Right. And in the future, that'll be studied by many business schools around the world as a business plan. Interrupt government propaganda. And
yeah.
And you can make, because if you really want to be an influencer, you need capital. And that's a good way to get capital. And then after that, you can do what you want and continue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
Yeah.
Like I've said several times already, that is I Demand to Know Adam.
I want to know.
And I am Chef Topher. Speaking of which, I got to get back to my cooking.
Sounds good, guys. Good luck with that.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.